your dreams. New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
Sorry about that.
New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from Knick Of Time Show. Here, give me it's time to talk about what's going on. Knicks lost. Sorry guys for the echo. Knicks lose to the Hawks, even though this is the wrong ticker of 100 to 108. And we're gonna talk about it all. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's a lot of ugly to go around. And I'm not gonna hold you guys. I absolutely hate losing to the Hawks. So I'm kind of pissed. I'm kind of tight. I'm not gonna lie. If I didn't have a post-game show to do, I would just be in my house, chilling, fuming right now. But this show, the show must go on. And we got business to take care of, so we're gonna talk about it. But before I talk about it, I'm gonna introduce you to my guy, Lee Escobedo, who's in the building. What's going on, Lee?
Yo. Allergies are absolutely killing me. So I apologize, y'all, if I have to go on mute, blow my nose, wipe my eyes. Change of season here in Dallas, finally cold. So it brought with it lots of pollen. This season, before we start, I really wanted to challenge myself and adjust my arguments and how I argued based less on reaction and more big picture. So I have not gotten too high after a win or too low after a loss compared to previous seasons of me on the show with that in mind. And tonight was really about human error. Basketball in the NBA is about human error. It has to be incorporated in how you view and analyze a game. And tonight, we were not the team that we could be, and we lost based a lot on human error, both from Tibbs all the way down to Deuce McBride. So I'm not too upset about this game. I do understand the implications of a cup. Also understand the implications of a 2021 playoffs with Trae Young being the ESPN-generated villain of New York. I don't care too much about that. I do care more about our defense shoring up. But I think I've seen already a lot of overreactions from Twitter on this loss.
I can see that. I can see that for sure. And thank you, Lee, for that. For me, when I look at this game, I look at a few things. One thing that I look at is Jalen Brunson versus Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels has his number, man. Flat out, Dyson Daniels has his number. The first time he played the Hawks, Brunson probably had his worst game of the season. And today, I feel like that game was even worse than that was. I think the only difference was he was able to distribute the ball a little bit more this game than the last game. But Dyson Daniels in particular really shut down Jalen Brunson. And when the Knicks have issues scoring, he's usually the most reliable option to go to. And he was taken out. So now what you have is, you know what? We have to go to our second most reliable option if our superstar just doesn't have it. And that would be Karl Anthony Towns. And he was in foul trouble. And also, you know, he was kind of just more of a playmaker too, not so much in the post, more kind of litigated to driving and drawing fouls and getting to foul trouble or drawing fouls that way. So we kind of got in trouble. So I think moving forward, playing this Hawks team, knowing that Dyson Daniels does have Brunson's number, we might have to lean on Cat a little bit more if we're struggling to score. And that might not be an easy pill to swallow for Brunson himself, but that's what it seems like it has to be at this point. So my first observation about this game is about that. I don't know if you have anything to say to that. I have a lot of other points I want to get to, but if you want to say something, go ahead.
I tweeted a couple days. Well, I have a couple references to tweets this podcast, but a couple of days ago, I tweeted that I was surprised more Knicks fans don't watch more of the NBA with any level of regularity, because I find it very important to know thy enemy, especially the teams that are either in our division or in our conference, or it could be potential playoff matchups. I think it's important to gain a sense of familiarity with your opponent and understand what their strengths and weaknesses are, so that even as a fan, you kind of gear your expectations for what you might see or not see when a 7-game series begins. And to me, this is the best roster that Trae Young has ever had around him. I think the 2021 Eastern Conference Finals run was a fluke. They faced a very crappy Knicks team and a Philadelphia 76ers team that was on the brink of implosion, and then got to these finals, got smacked by Milwaukee. This team is extremely athletic. It doesn't depend on a lot of unassisted field goals either, because they have two guys who are really, really good at getting their own shot. And I'm not just talking about Trae Young. I'm talking about both Okongwu and especially Jalen Johnson, who was my early preseason pick for most improved player. He is someone who impressed me even last season when he upped his scoring average to around 16 a game. This season, he's averaging 20, 10, and 6. Those are star numbers.
Yeah.
Tonight, he was right in line with that. He had 21, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals. I would actually make the argument he is the most important player for the Atlanta Hawks. I think him and Trae are very even. Trae's efficiency to me is what brings him down to not being able to be a superstar. Right now, Jalen Johnson's 3 ball, only at 35%, is what's keeping him from being a superstar. But by the end of the season, I believe Jalen Johnson will be the most important player on the Atlanta Hawks. And his twin brother, Dyson Daniels, those two combined for some really aggressive blitzing on the pick and roll, really sharp hedging and sharp recovery on closeouts of a 3-point line. They're able to gamble a lot defensively and make up because of their lateral quickness, because of their foot speed, and because of their high IQ. Those two guys are demons. When you add a healthy DeAndre Hunter off the bench in a six-man row, it makes them even more dangerous, because you always have a combination of those two guys guard the point of attack. That makes them very difficult to beat. Not to mention, Clint Capella and Trae Young are one of the best, most unstoppable pick and roll combos in the NBA. And it's been that way since Trae was drafted in 2018. They've always had a really clean chemistry. And I don't think that Clint Capella should really ever be traded, because when they need a bucket, the same way that Hartenstein push shot or a Josh Hart fadeaway or one-man transition is a really automatic bailout, that pick and roll with Clint Capella as a roll man is unstoppable, or even as a lob threat. Backdoor, doesn't matter how it's being ran. He's really big, really long, and finishes very well through contact. They have a very good offensive team and a very good defensive team. You got Bodie now in almost a tertiary fourth option role, scoring. Everyone can score off the dribble in their starting five or on assisted shots with Trae Young setting them up. They're dangerous. Their coach, his name is escaping me now because of my allergies, from Utah. He's a solid coach too. He's really unlocked them offensively and really added an extra emphasis on defense, not just defense, but perimeter defense. I think he really understands how to hide Trae Young on the defensive side and really use Dyson Daniels as a Swiss Army knife to be able to guard two, basically be the same version of two on the ball because of his dexterity on the defensive end. This is not a bad team. Atlanta's better than record, and lately they've really been clicking. They've beaten Cleveland and a few other teams that have been playing really hot. They're a lot better than the record stays, and I think they're probably on their way to be one of the better defensive teams once the playoff starts, because of their ability to switch 2 through 5 when Okongwu is at the center position. It makes them really dangerous. They can't go 5 out, but damn it, who cares when you have Trae Young, who can basically pull up from anywhere and also set everybody up within the offense.
Yeah, you said a lot there, and I want to build off of some of those things you said. One thing is, you talked about the pick and roll between Clint Capella and Trae Young. Two things I want to say. One, Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson have the deadliest pick and roll in the league, and they were able to slow that down by slowing down Jalen Brunson. That's one. Two, although Clint Capella and Trae Young have a deadly pick and roll, and they worked well against us today, we have a weapon that we have not used yet, who is always giving the Hawks fits, and he's a guy who was able to kind of guard two players at once, and his name is Mitchell freaking Robinson. Every time Mitch has played Capella, he's outplayed him. He has this uncanny way of figuring out the perfect way to play that pick and roll sometimes and break that up, especially against the Hawks. And that's something we need tonight. And you know what, too? And I'll say this as well. Karl Anthony Towns himself has improved defensively. Like and he's no Mitch. He's by any means no Mitch, but I saw a lot of improvement defensively from Karl Anthony Towns. Just going for steals in the first half in that first quarter. Defending the rim for like a nice quarter. He's just know what it is with Towns. He's doing so much. He doesn't do it consistently. Like the first quarter, he did really well protecting the rim. The second quarter, not as much. The third quarter, I feel like he did a pretty decent job. So he's still kind of off and on, although he's improved. So with that being said, Mitch coming back to this team and being a guy that can A, defend the pick and roll, and B, help us rebound, because Lord, we got destroyed on the boards. 22 offensive rebounds for the Hawks.
Bruh.
And it's not because of lack of effort. It's not because of lack of effort. Like, the Knicks, actually, to me, was trying to learn from the first loss. They were actually flying around all game long. They was really intentional about being in transition. There was multiple efforts when people were passing the ball around, more effort than I actually seen them play all season. But sometimes what happens as a side effect of your guys flying around is you lose that offensive rebound. And I think that happened today because of the flying around. And also when Cat went to the bench in the third quarter, we needed another big to kind of help fill that rebounding gap, and we didn't have that. And I think both of those things combined really killed us.
Yeah, I always have three keys to the game. They don't change. These are the three that I thought about during the preseason and then had to readdress once we got Karl Anthony Towns and our schematics changed. But number one, our identity, you touched on it, is rebounding. If we do not win the rebounding advantage, more than likely we will not win the game. We lost 58-49 today. Now, the other one is assists. To me, the 30 assists a game metric. If we do that, we're probably going to win because that means the ball is moving. We're taking high percentage shots, taking efficient shots. We only had 27 today. And my third one is free throw shooting. Again, 60% from the line. To me, if we don't shoot over 85% or better, we're also maybe not going to win the game. Today, 60%. That is, in my opinion, unacceptable. And that's a coaching issue. That's an identity issue. That's an effort issue, because those are free points you should be able to take full advantage of, and recognizing how sometimes those points not just swing the game, but it also swing the momentum. Guys in their head when they start missing free throws and they start questioning their decision making. So to me, those are three metrics. We lost all three today. It doesn't surprise me that we lost to a very good rising Atlanta Hawk team. This is not the Detroit or Washington or Charlotte. This is a team that will be in the playoffs and will probably be top 6 or top 7 in defensive net rating by the end of the season. Also, we cannot win when Josh Hart is our lead scorer. I don't think it's possible for the Knicks to win a game when Josh Hart's the lead scorer. He is key as a third, fourth, or fifth option. When he excels in that role, that's when the Knicks are firing on all cylinders. Tonight, he was a lead scorer at 21. I was really hoping for a Deuce McBride breakout game. Did not happen on either end. He got cooked in isolation, got cooked on switches, and did not show up offensively. Only gave us 5 points.
Yeah. Well, I think Deuce might have been fighting through a knee injury because he actually left the game early. I know I've seen Deuce. I know Deuce. Like when Deuce shoots, he shoots well. He started off the first half shooting well and then kind of faded. I have a feeling it's a knee issue for one. Two, I have a different take about your free throw shooting and the effort thing. Like, to me, this is actually the most effort I've seen the Knicks play defensively, as far as rotating and switching, and not even switching, just rotating. Like the amount of rotations it took to like cover 3-point shooters, they actually held them to, I think, 35% from three, something in that first half. And I actually feel like that's why we were missing threes. And that's why we were missing free throws, because I think the longer the game wore on, I think our legs started to get the best of us. And when you're tired, that's when your shots start to get short. And I think that's a reason why our free throws and our threes were starting to miss. Because even when you look at the third quarter, right? The third quarter starts off fresh legs, off halftime. Knicks started hitting their threes, right? 3 or 4 threes in a row. The game goes on. They're rotating. Hawks make a run. Knicks miss wide open shots. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, you name it. Wide open threes. Missed them. Hawks go on the other end and score. Debilitates the team. It makes your legs even more tired because, like, damn, we wasn't even able to capitalize on the defense that we played by making these shots. And I felt like it kind of got into our heads and got into our legs at the same time. And I feel like it took our heart out a little bit in that third quarter too, where it was like, I feel like they put so much into the defense and then couldn't score that it kind of messed them up mentally. So it was like, for me, it's like, if we're going to play that high octane defensively, you're going to need to like rotate players in and out to get the fresh legs. And now you're getting into, I shout out to Sandman. Now you're getting into the conversation about the depth. Now you're getting into the conversation about the minutes. We're playing 8-man. Shout out to Sandman. I saw you talk about that. Now you're getting to conversations about the roster. Like, do we have length in the roster? We have length to become Dadier. Maybe he should play, even though maybe he's not all the way ready, but we just need bodies and length to contend with their length. Because as it stands, the Hawks have our number. Like, because of the length that they have and the activity that they play with, as it stands, to me, the Hawks have our number. So those things have to be addressed for me. Like, getting extra bodies in here, getting more length in here, getting fresher legs in here, so that type of play that Tibbs wants to play could be more sustainable.
I don't know if I agree with all that. Unfortunately, I don't feel well enough to get into a debate about whether the rotation should be extended. Not sure if this is the right game for Dadiot because of how awesome they are defensively on the hot side. But at the same time, I do agree with some guys might be tired, but Precious isn't one of those guys. Precious has been, not resting, but sitting on the bench trying to gear back up for his rehab to get back on the court. And he was someone who I was going to really hope would be an X factor in today's game, at least helping to double, sitting doubles to guard Trae Young on the pick and roll. But this really isn't the type of game too, or really the type of Hawks team where blitzing is going to work anymore. It did back in the day when we used to play the Hawks. You could blitz Trae Young because he didn't have his shooters, or he didn't have guys who could put the ball on the floor and create a shot off the dribble. They do now, and Jalen Johnson and DeAndre Hunter really, and even to some extent Dyson Daniels a little bit, they really killed us. They were attacking closeouts into the hoop and did easy buttons in transition. They were also in the dunker spot, did some easy baskets around there. It's a backdoor cutting. They were a lot more movement and a lot active because of their head coach. He's a really smart offensive coach. Mm-hmm. He knows how to maximize talent, and he knows how to use a long rotation to keep guys fresh, to keep guys playing the chess match. When Brunson came in, he would always put Dyson Daniels in. But that doesn't mean that you don't have a drop-off, because DeAndre Hunter and Jalen Johnson are counterbalancing that with playing the minutes where Brunson's on the bench. So, again, I can't remember his damn name. They've already said in the chat, and I forgot, the head coach. Really smart head coach, really good roster. Shout out to Landry Fields, their GM, at Knick, who I think's really bought into the identity of surrounding him with a lot of actually talented length. They always have a Cam Reddish guys who never worked out, John Collins. Now they have a lot of talent, two-way talent, guys who can hit three balls, who can defend multiple positions, who can switch, and who can get to the basket with speed, fit, and quickness and athleticism. This is not a bad team. I want to reiterate that. There's no reason to jump out the window or to crash out over a cup loss against a very good Atlanta team who got here by beating Cleveland. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Let's just hope that we bounce back when we need to. In a 7-game series, the best team usually wins. But in a 1-game, middle of December, anything can happen. Any team can beat any other team on any given night. So again, because of those odds and realistic metrics, I don't get too upset or too overwhelmed when we win. I just keep the perspective in mind. In a 7-game series, I do think we beat Atlanta.
Yeah, we definitely Mitch. I don't think nothing is happening without Mitch. Like we definitely, and the funny thing is, like we were right there. It took what like a
True.
14-0 run or something in the third quarter. It was one run. It was literally one run. We missed shots. We couldn't stop them, and our heart
Good
got
point.
taken. It was really literally one run, and we lost by 8. So it's not. It's there's still some things to figure out. One, yeah, and here's my thing with Tibbs. I know that Mikal Bridges is a good, has the reputation, the guy who's been really good at point of attack defense. But especially when the game is on a line sometimes, and we're getting confused because we're still trying to play that defense, the old school defense of fighting over screens. Can we just switch? Like I don't understand. You have Josh Hart and you have Mikal Bridges, and then they run a pick, and Josh Hart just doesn't switch on Trey. Like we should be able to switch Trey Young, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart, especially in the game situations when things are kind of tight and we're flying around. Like I feel like we should be able to do that more, especially when guys who are maestros at pick and roll like Trey Young and masters are getting two in the ball and confusing people because of the activity level. Like we need to switch more.
Why do you think they don't? Do you think the reason is because Tibbs is scared that Josh Hart's going to get in foul trouble?
I don't know. I don't think that's it because it's not like Josh. It's not like Josh Hart gets in a bunch of foul trouble all the time. Like Josh Hart was a guy who was like, yeah, he's a pretty good defender. We'll put him on this guy, like, and we'll live with it. Like, oh, we'll put him on Jimmy Butler. So to go to like far lengths to not switch in certain situations, put Josh Hart on Trey Young is weird to me. Like, I get McCall is a masterful defender, but especially if we're getting picked apart because we're just not fighting over screens or we're getting confused at certain times, especially in the game situations. Just switch. We have the personnel to switch. Just switch. I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. And there was like one play in particular that made me think that. It was like in the fourth quarter, we were trying to mount the comeback, and it was like Trey in a wing screen and roll, and they didn't switch. I'm just why? What? I don't get it. I don't get it. Tibbs,
When I,
I
oh, sorry.
to go ahead.
I would say when I was watching, again, I wasn't able to watch as intently as I wanted to, feeling like ass. But I felt like we did a good job of forcing them, especially in the first half, into bad shots or
Yeah,
not bad, difficult shots. And that goes for just about everybody, including the guys who I've praised, like Jalen Johnson and DeAndre Hunter. I'm looking at the box score right now, and it looks like Hunter was the only one who shot pretty well from the field overall that wasn't a center. He shot 53% from the field and 80% from three, only 4 or 5. So nothing outrageous. But Bogdan, 1 of 7 from three. Trey Young, 2 of 8. Zachariah Rishashir, how do you pronounce that, the rookie, 0 for 4. And Jalen Johnson, 1 for 5.
yeah,
So we did a good job, I thought, with the perimeter defense, which is why I ended up setting its Twitter when he started talking about Michael Bridges didn't play defense or so on and so forth. So I don't know if he watched the game or not, but to me, it was more about the offensive rebounding, allowing them to get second chance points and allowing them second chance points around the rim for easy putbacks too.
right.
Offensive rebounding matchup, 22-12 advantage Atlanta. On a night where we had a really outrageous first half rebounding from Carnathy Towns, it's odd that in the second half that completely fell apart, or at least that game plan fell apart. Because to me, that's really when we allowed them to get easy shots and go on that run. It wasn't because they would drain threes; it's because they would be able to get out in transition off of our misses into easy shots down the lane on 4-on-3 or mismatches or 3-on-2. To me, that was what Tibbs should have adjusted. Now, again, I'm not smart enough to say what the adjustment should have been, but watching how things are staying the same, to me, it's like do something different. Either go small, go really big, or like you said, switch on the pick and roll, but do something to try to disrupt their offensive flow. Because once you have guys coming off the bench that get in rhythm at the rim, it gets a lot harder because now their confidence goes up and Trey can become the playmaker opposed to a difficult shot maker. And that's when Atlanta becomes really difficult to beat.
Yeah, nah, I agree with you. Well said. I kind of feel like Cat was, I don't know if he's thrown off because he sat so long and then when he came back in, he just didn't have the defensive intensity that he had the first games, or maybe he was just scared of creating that other foul, and so he wasn't going all out. Maybe that's what it was, but he definitely didn't have the defensive intensity and the quick reaction time that he had in the first 3 quarters for sure. It was night and day in it. So I don't know what it was, but he was kind of dead man walking after having a really good defensive showing in like the first quarter and the third quarter. So I
And
wish I don't know what happened there.
I
And
I criticized Atlanta for not shooting well from the perimeter, but damn it, we didn't either. 11 out of 42 for 26%. A lot of those long rebounds is why they had 3 guys in double digits on the boards. Jalen Johnson, 15, Capella, 13, off the bench, Kungu, 11. 5 of them offensive. Like at some point, you have to realize that maybe you shouldn't shoot so many threes and really utilize that pick and roll and start running the action through Karl-Anthony Towns, opposed to relying on your perimeter and really use him to brutalize their front court and get them in foul trouble.
yeah, like you know what? He was in foul trouble when that happened, so he was off the court. So but when they started to switch, what they started to pump fake the three and then go inside once they realized the three wasn't hitting. And what happened when that started happening was the ref just started swallowing their whistle because they was getting like I don't like to blame the refs for losses. I don't think the refs are the reason why we lost this game. But that third quarter for about a good 5 or 6 minutes was weird to watch. Especially you see Karl-Anthony Towns get his 5th foul, smacking some guy in the face. Then you see like a play or two later, OG Anunoby gets smacked in the face. Nothing happens. Josh Hart falls to the floor, gets hit. Nothing happens. It was a weird stretch where the Knicks was just getting beat up and nothing happened. So and I think they were going inside because they wasn't hitting the three, but then they wasn't really being rewarded for going inside and getting fouled. So it was a bad situation. But I also agree with you, Lee, that we we should have gone inside the Karl-Anthony Towns more, especially because Jalen Brunson just didn't have it, and it seemed like we were having issues finding the cutters that we had in the first half. Give Atlanta Hawks the credit. Our cutters were carving them apart in the first half. That third quarter, those same cuts that we were getting easy buckets on with Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart and OG Anunoby, those were all shut down. So at that point, we have to adjust again and figure out how to score without our cutters. Figure out how to score without Jalen Brunson. So now we got to go to Cat in the post, and we have to learn from that and adjust the next time when we play the Atlanta Hawks.
That worries me because in my time as an NBA fan, I haven't always had the same level of awareness 10 years ago as I did now. Not saying my awareness is great, but I'm watching the game a lot. I think you grow. And Tibbs has always been, in my opinion, a fairly poor in-game adjuster.
Yeah.
He's a great game adjuster when you're in a 7-game series. I think he grinds the tape. He figures out what to do differently, but he seems to be risk averse in game in making dramatic changes on his defensive schemes. Not so much offense as he tends to let the players kind of dictate that, but defensively he hesitates on switching things up, and that worries me a little bit as the season goes on. When we're playing an 8-man rotation, I think it's going to hurt us in crunch time because we don't really have an option B, C, or D to turn to. When every game you have a game plan that's been heavily researched by Tibbs, but doesn't really allow for flexibility or change within that. When people start beating you in a way to where the makeup of your team can't adjust. So I'm not really sure with Johnny Bryant not in the bench anymore where that new voice is going to come from, or who's going to be able to whisper in his ear and tell him what to change. Where last year we saw that hey, switch out. Go 2 centers, have Mitch and Hartenstein on a free throw. So you bots out and make sure they don't get an offensive rebound. You guarantee you did the defensive rebound. Those type of things are small adjustments that Spo's really good at, Lou's really good at. Udota, I'm not really sure where that's going to come from, and that does worry me a little bit. With the season, have a lot more games we play this season.
I agree. I agree. That's that. As much as we love Tibbs, he changed the culture. He's done well. He's involved as a coach for us this year. Um, the in-game adjustment hasn't been happening for us. Like look, even like the off-ball movement we complaining about, we cut hard. We've been cutting hard for like the last few games. Um, but that's the last piece is that the in-game adjustment. Also the willingness to switch, like the willingness to switch to me. That's like because now we have like a modern NBA offense. We need to have that switchable modern NBA defense to kind of bring it all together for me. But like you said, Lee, they scored 108 points. We didn't play bad defensively. We did not play bad defensively. We actually played a lot better than defensively today than we did the first game. We just gotta hit shots. And we missed a lot of open threes, especially when the game kind of got closer. And so we just have to hit our shots. And that, to me, that's still, maybe we need fresher legs. Maybe that's the case because our legs are gone. So maybe that's why we missed them. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like adding Mitch to this will be nice. And maybe another rotation player would be nice too. It would be nice if Precious Sue can find his rhythm offensively, because right now he's been good at slashing and finishing at the rim. But like the 3-point shooting that he was getting his rhythm at shooting in the beginning of the season, that's pretty much disappeared. It would be nice if that came back. Maybe that's gonna be like an off-season thing. Like not an off-season, maybe like an all-star break thing when he starts to work that back in his game. But yeah. That's it. That's all I got to say. That's really it is.
If I had grades to give out, that's not really my style, but I would have really solid high marks for Mikal Bridges, even though he didn't shoot well from three. Thought he played really solid in the first half. He got a little gun shy in the second half, but overall great. Josh Hart, better than expected, had one of his best games of the season tonight. Thought OG was also really solid. Wish OG was a little more aggressive driving when his 3-point shot's not there. But you live with it. He's not an all-star yet, in my opinion, but he's played like it a little bit this season. So I'm not too harsh on him offensively. To me, I wanted more Karl-Anthony Towns. Would have liked his attempts to be up between 20 and 25 this game because they don't have a lot of guys who can guard him on the perimeter. They play a lot of drop coverage too, so I think he should take advantage of that. And Jalen Brunson had a really awful shooting game.
Yeah.
It was interesting. He didn't shoot well, but he also didn't overshoot. He knew when to defer. In the second half, he might defer a little bit too much. He's still in the game with 8 assists and only 2 turnovers, with a plus minus if you care for that stat at 0, which means he was kind of like in the middle. He didn't negatively impact the game, even though he had a poor shooting night. To me, it would have been a game to get Cat more involved. I think he was playing angry too. When Cat's playing angry, he's hard to stop. And I just think his field goal percentage should have been a little bit more looking for him, running the action through him in the second half, opposed to just trying to find ball movement and find the best shot. Really, I just ram it down their throat, pause, and make them pay for trying to put 2 on the ball or trying to defend the rim and just draw fouls.
Yeah, I agree. And salute to the chat, yo. If you want to get in the Discord, you can. The Discord is open. There's no fridge, so I always just bring you in. But there's the link pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. If you want to get to Discord and say anything, I will gladly patch you in. I saw Gaming Channel said Sims rim protecting. Sims. Maybe we need more Sims today. I'm not even gonna hold you. I was thinking that because the way the rebounding was getting out of control, I was like, damn, maybe we need to get Sims in here to get some more rebounding here. I don't know. The thought definitely crossed my mind. Also, shout out to Knick Him Up. He sent the super chat a long time ago. I was really just in the throes of the conversation, but shout out to guy Knick Him Up. And shout out to the super chats. Y'all been blessing us with the super chats lately, so I definitely appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah,
because we have a really strong core following who rocks with us regardless. So I appreciate you guys. So shout out to Nick Him Up, who gives us a $10 super chat. He says, "This ish blows, we'll get better." Yeah, and I'm not going to, and I'm gonna keep saying this, man. This Hawks team is tough, dog. Like the Hawks have our number, man. The Hawks have kind of have our number, man. That their personnel is built for us. Is built to. It's gonna be difficult for us. We're going to have to play at 110% every time to beat the Hawks for sure. Mitch, come back, please. Please, Mitch, because that will definitely help the rebounding aspect for sure, and the pick and roll because he shuts down Capella every time. That is freaking Capella's kryptonite.
Yeah, to me, it's like for me to get upset, something has to happen that shouldn't happen. Like, should we lose to Atlanta? Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's playing really good basketball right now. We are still trying to find our identity on the defensive end. We're still trying to incorporate Bridges more into the offense and figure out how to really use Cat to the best of his ability on both sides of the ball. Brunson's still kind of trying to find his shot. Like, I'm not too worried about this loss. If we got blown out, I would have been furious because there's no reason we should be blown out by this Atlanta Hawks team. But we played hard until the end. We never gave up. It's not like we were down in 3 minutes left of the game and Tiz played in his subs, or we just kind of gave up with the starters. We played hard as hell, especially Josh Hart, up until the last second. So I commend the guys tonight that just didn't have it on the offensive side. We got out rebounded. We know what our weaknesses are. And if Leon doesn't address it with a trade, which I probably would err on the side that we don't, I think it's just about our team gaining more continuity. I think we've had too many changes, and we should stay with the core that we have and let them gain some rhythms and just play Precious more. He really played a 7-man rotation tonight. To me, there's no reason for that, Tibbs. I don't get it. Like, why give Jericho Sims a guest appearance? Let him play 15. It doesn't mean those minutes have to come from Sims. They could come from Precious or come from OG. Move OG to the 3. Whatever you gotta do. This would have been a game to really try the Sims Cat combination. Who knows? Just to help with the rebounding side of things. But yeah, man, I don't understand 7-man rotation in December. That's absurd.
Yeah,
But maybe it's Dadiot, maybe it's Matt Ryan. I don't know.
I vote Dadiat, man. I'm always gonna vote Dadiat. He's gonna give you the defense. He's gonna give you the shooting. It's not gonna be this extreme movement shooting of Matt Ryan, but he at least he gives you the defense, and that's what Tibbs wants. So I still vote Dadiat for sure, for sure.
You know who we needed? We needed Landry Shamet tonight.
Landry Shamet would have been nice.
That's who we needed.
Gamer Channels was actually asking about Landry Shamet, and there was some news that said he was close.
I read that. I heard he was taking contact.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure what the timeline is for that. But Shaman, man, he was a guy who we were debating on whether campaign would even get playing time at some point because Shaman was just playing so well. So we'll see what happens if the rotation opens up with Landry Shamet coming back for sure. Also, there was some Mitch news as well. I think the news was Mitch is going to be coming back like late January, February.
Oh,
So we'll see what happens with that as well. Mitch, we miss you, man. Need you back.
Medicare Mitch. Medicare Mitch.
That's a fact, yo.
I'm getting sick of these injuries, bro. Come on, man. I love the kid though. Don't
Yeah,
trade him. I'm criticizing because I think it's okay and healthy too, but kid cannot stay healthy. Holy
yeah.
hell.
At the same time, he did try to come back early for the playoffs, so it's like
Yeah, I understand.
it's like you want to kill. I want to kill him because like he's never healthy, which he hasn't been healthy. But then it's like he came back early for the playoffs to play against Embiid, and can we imagine what would happen if Mitch didn't play against Embiid at all and it was just Hartenstein?
We would have lost.
So it's like at the end of the day, yes, Mitch was hurt, but where like you said, we might have lost against the 76ers without Mitch versus Embiid. So
Yep, I think we would have.
so
Because
salute to you,
iHeart got
Mitch.
dog walked. Don't forget. Don't believe the revisionist history. iHeart got dog walked. I know. I'll say it to everybody's not here. He was abused by Joel Embiid. when he darted a one-on-one. We won that series because of Mitchell Robinson's defense on him. Besides some really good shot making defensively, it was Mitchell Robinson on Embiid.
Nah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Hartenstein saved us the whole season, but when it came to the playoffs, yeah. He had a rough time for sure. For sure. And we got picked for Timmy in the queue. So there's no Fritz today, so he probably doesn't know he's about to get dragged in. He's not prepared or whatever. So hopefully, when I'm dragging in, all the audio stuff is good for him. So shout out to Picks. Hopefully you hear me. I'm about to drag you in. Okay. Okay, Picks for Timmy. You're now live on KOT show. Let me know if you can hear me.
I can hear you, man. Can you hear me, JLs?
Yes, sir. We got it working today. Let's go.
We got the Discord popping. Let's go, man. We got to get one win for the end of the day, man. What's good, Jay Ellis, man? What's good, Leah Escobedo, man? What's good to the chat, man? My guy Alexander, my guy JT. What's good, y'all? Look, man. There was a time last year where we were following this team, and I remember the Toronto Raptors. Every time we would play them, we would have a conversation about length and how Jalen Brunson was having issues finishing over length and how we were having problems being able to penetrate, dish, kick. We're just having issues. There was another point where we came back to see that same team and we dusted them. Like, I have no doubt that everything that happens tonight, if we see them in a 7-game series, we're going to bust that ass. I'm sorry. This is a family show. I apologize, Jailers. But
I agree.
if we see them in a 7-game series, they don't want that smoke. Literally, the way I'm looking at it right now, man, like, and I'm not even front with you. I was super hot because I hate losing to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And probably, like, if y'all check the Discord files, man, y'all will probably see a few rants from the last time we ran into Atlanta. But the season is really an experiment to see what you're going to do with the money that you spent last offseason. So we're trying to figure out, like, how are these pieces really going to fit? Because I could point out probably like 6 or 7 different things that I saw during this game. But even if I were to say, like, there's something that is specifically going to help us next time that we play, I don't even know if that's going to be the one thing. Like, I don't know if Mikal getting to the basket on his opportunities is going to be something that helps us when we have a Mitchell Robinson in play. Like, I don't know what the spacing is going to look like if we just post Cat or, continuous. If we put Cat in the pinch post and just post him and continually feed him, I don't know if that draws a double team consistently or, I don't know what these things are specifically going to do when all the pieces are in play.
Right.
I think right now we just got to enjoy the experience. It sucks losing to the Hawks, but yeah, man, it's just this chemistry is going to take some time. It took some time last year, even before we had these pieces. When we had Julius Randle, it took a couple of seasons, honestly. It's just going to take some time. So the reality of the situation is I like the fact that we had to eat a double dose of humble pie because getting our ass whooped on the Knicks Legends night, that was crazy. And then coming back home after Toronto and catching this one. So I'm expecting Jalen, get in the lab, do what you do. And, it just may be a turnaround of instead of trying to do this thing where we're getting every single individual involved, y'all get in where you fit in. Like, when you're hooping, sometimes it's less thinking about how to get everybody involved. It's more about being in a situation where you can react. And we're just not there yet. Like, everybody's literally thinking basketball. You can see, like, Karl Anthony Towns trying to figure out his defensive positioning when he's put in a situation to guard too. If Mitch is put in that same situation, he knows exactly what he's going to do. He knows how to do it. Like, it's easy for him. And he's been doing it for so many years. I think Cat is talented enough where he can figure out a way to contest shots in those situations. It's just going to take him time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the growth of this team. I hate this L, but I love this L because I know what the mentality of a Tom Thibodeau coach team is. And we're going to do nothing but bounce back. So let's get ready, man, because there's some sweet victories ahead, man. And I think we're gonna be going to the ECF and beyond. So let's enjoy the journey, man. That's what I got, y'all. Take it easy. Later.
All right, man. Peace to my guy picks. Peace to my guy picks with Timmy. Long time callers, OG, KOT peoples. And it's funny every time, yo, APB, Alejandro, where are you, my guy? I haven't heard from you in a minute. Actually, shout out to Alejandro. Alejandro's still like he'll still cash app us like $1 a game. So shout out to him because he's still watching for sure.
Love that.
He's still watching for sure. But I don't know if he has 3 jobs now and he can't call in the post games or whatever. But yeah, man, for these Hawks games, we usually need Alejandro. So shout out to Alejandro. But I appreciate Picks with Timmy giving his 2 cents. I think the most poignant thing I've heard him say that stuck out to me was the Toronto point where the Knicks were struggling against length for Toronto for the longest, and Brunson figured it out eventually. And
yeah, when we got OG.
Doesn't help to have OG. Doesn't help to have OG. But at the same time, he did like OG for offense, but defensively, the Hawks killed Brunson every time for a long time because of the length. And you're right, Tim. We talked about him going to the paint, getting balls deflected, pause when he tried to pass it out, and all that noise, and he figured it out. So hopefully history repeats himself and he plays Dyson again and he figures it out.
Every great hero needs a villain. I am Timmy's and Timmy's is mine. But today I agree with his statement completely. I actually thought about that too, about how there's a part of me that appreciates this loss. And a significant loss. I don't put a lot of stake into the cup, but I was cool with winning it. Sounds fun. Everyone gets a little bit of the pie. But I think it's important that this team doesn't ever get to the role of front runners and gets wins against teams where it inflates its confidence. I'm glad that their ego is taking some hits, as well as a fan base too. I think it tempers expectations and allows us to really focus on the things that we need to improve on, which is fortifying our free throw shooting, fortifying our rebounding, and fortifying our assists. So until we become truly dominant and consistent in those 3 metrics, I don't think we'll be where we need to be to win a championship. But I do believe it'll happen by the time the playoffs start. And I also agree with Timmy. If we see this team in the 7-game series, we're smacking the hell out of them.
Good place to end it. I hate losing. Do you know this kid? Trae Young brought dice to the game so he can roll the dice on the logo at the end of the I hate losing to this dude, yo. Hate it.
He's so corny.
He's so corny, bro. He is ass. But we're gonna have our other chances to play this guys, and it's funny enough because we beaten the Hawks more than they beat. We beaten the Hawks more than they beaten us. But it's just a rivalry just because of the animosity between the crowd and Trae Young and the way he plays it up. So is it a rivalry even though we beat them a lot more times? I guess if you play into it, the ESPN played into it. It is what it is. We got the next game. Next game up is Sunday versus the Orlando Magic. So be there or be squared. We will be talking Knicks basketball on Sunday, and it will be the cup. The cup. The guys who lost the cup, the last cup game, will be playing on Sunday. So that is us in the Orlando Magic, and I gotta give it up to Orlando Magic, man, because they have had a string of bad luck. They remind me of us last year, bro. Like they lost their best player, they lost Wagner with the abdominal strain, and they barely lost to the Bucks last game to qualify for the cup. So I still not going to take Orlando lightly, even though we beat them before. Just because they show up, they play defense, they play hard, and those are the type of guys you just want to sleep on. All right. So shout out
Jalen Suggs. Yeah. Jalen Suggs, man, he's gonna give Brunson hell. He's balling his ass off. That game against the Bucks dropped 32, 9 rebounds, 4 steals. He's really a candidate for most improved player too, taking on a heavier scoring load with the 2 lead scorers out. So he's a player to watch. Suggs would definitely be guarding Brunson the majority of the game, but he also will be probably taking the most shots for them on offense as well. Him, Wendell Carter, and Mo Wagner are their 3 scorers now. So I'm sure Tibbs knows this too. I hope we blitz the hell out of them and pick and roll because they don't have shooters. So it made sense to utilize that defensive tactic. And yeah, man, force Suggs to playmate as much as he can and not be the scorer.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute, Lee. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. All you gotta do, all you gotta do is say Candyman 3 times and he appears, Lee. That's all you gotta do. I tell him Alejandro is in the queue. I repeat, tell him Alejandro is in the queue. I'm about to bring in my guy. Tell him Alejandro to speak. I told you he's listening. He just be chilling. He be in the chat incognito. He just like, I'm just enjoying the show. All right, tell him you are now live on the KOT show. You're now live on the KOT show.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, sir.
Gucci.
Gucci.
Yes. Oh, nice. Hey, how you doing tonight, Jay Ellis? Hey, how you doing tonight? Truth telling. And hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Enjoying the KOT show. So boom, first things first. Tonight, we got our booties whipped, boy. We got our booties whipped. And it's not lit. It feels bad. But check this out. We got to confess. The last team that the Washington Wizards beat before Jokic was the Atlanta Hawks twice. We have lost to the Atlanta Hawks twice. Plain and simple, we're whack. We have to look in the mirror and confess that and admit that so we can get to the next level. We came into this season with championship aspirations, or at least planning on competing with the Boston Celtics. Clearly, we are not there right now. Obviously, getting back Precious helps us. And obviously, getting back Killer Cam because he missed the full game. Not too crazy, not as much Precious. But getting him back helps us. It helps bolster our bench. But we're not where we need to be. Tonight, in my opinion, was pathetic. It was a reality check. We've been smelling ourselves lately. We recently beat the Toronto Raptors, but barely. I like how Cat was a goon afterwards, showing off the jersey, telling everybody you a H word, you a N word, all that. That's gangster. But you know what's not gangster? The fact that Scotty Barnes had to get injured for us to get the upper hand in that game. The fact that the Mississauga Demon, the Maple Leaf Mamba, Rowan Alexander Barrett Jr. was took in that game. What happened to OG's defense? How is RJ getting 30 on us? What happened to the fact that the Raptors didn't have, guess who? IQ. If they had Bruce Brown, if they had their weapons, we probably don't win that game. So we have to have a reality check. Last time we got smoked by the Hawks, Zachary Ricochet was spraying because Josh Hart ain't want to guard him. Nobody respected him. He's unknown. He's a rookie. This night, he ain't cooked. But guess who came back from injury? We didn't play last game. DeAndre Hunter. Guess who came back from injury? We didn't play last game. Bogdanovich. Bogdanovich wasn't crazy wet, but he still was impactful. He's still a key piece for that team. So we gotta look in the mirror and confess. We need to make changes to get to the next level. Brunson, third quarter, 8 points. I'm sorry, 0 points. He finished halftime with 8 points after the third quarter, 8 points. What happened? I thought you were the best point guard in the league, better than Stephen Curry. You can't tell me Dyson Daniels got you on lock. I don't care. They gave up DeJounte to acquire Daniels. So who's better? Murray. So why is Daniels slowing you up? What's going on with that? Cat tonight. Foul trouble. I give him the pass for that. Because I know if he wasn't in foul trouble, I think we would have had the advantage and won. We only lost by 8. But OG, you're making more than $40 million now, buddy. You can't shoot 1 for 9 from 3. You don't have permission no more. If you want to shoot 1 for 9 from 3, you gotta take a pay cut. But you took the fat money. So no excuses. You gotta make your threes, buddy. Brunson, you have to cook that Daniels matchup. And just overall, we need to pay attention to the small things, the details. Deuce was bricking tonight, by the way. Deuce, we need that energy off the bench. You can't be bricking, bro. We have to pay attention to small things because that's what's going to help us get to the next level. Not just Mitch coming back and he's going to clean stuff up. Because if we just rely on that, we're going to continue to lose to teams that we're supposed to beat. You feel me? Hopefully, this is a reality check for everyone. I know us fans, we sad, but we feel humbled. But I'm hoping those players get angry about this and do something because I seen the Knicks team in January last year after the OG trade. I feel like they had a connection to those players and they weren't very happy about the fact that the locker room just got shooken up. But they were happy about the added skill and the added talent. And it showed that whole January. So hopefully, it's not that far off from last year's end of December. Not that far off. Hopefully this is a wake-up call. Y'all not in Vegas. Y'all not getting that $500,000. Josh Hart, you're not getting that watch that you wanted to buy. What are y'all going to do about it? Are y'all going to start kicking these teams that y'all supposed to moving forward? I hope so. Because like this, it don't matter if we're 15-9. This is a bad team. You have to face reality. This is a bad team. Like this, as currently constructed, we're not beating the Boston Celtics. So it's time to look in the mirror and find it within ourselves. But we have the talent. We gotta find what's up. What's going on with this team? What's wrong? That third quarter, 18 points. That's bad. Remember we had in 2 games, I believe, against the Charlotte Hornets and the Dallas Mavericks. First quarter, 15 points. That's unacceptable. We can't have quarters like that. We had a quarter like that this third quarter. Unacceptable to come out with no energy in that third quarter and get cooked by a bad team. I rest my case. Step it up, Knicks. Y'all let us all down tonight. Step it up.
And that was Tell him Alejandro. And I gotta say, man, it's probably the most I've disagreed with Tell him Alejandro since he's been on this show. I'm not gonna hold you. I gotta hold you. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I don't think we're not a bad team. I don't think we're a bad team. The only thing I will say is I do agree that I hope they do learn from this and get angry. I hope Josh Power realizes he's not getting that wash and gets pissed. And next time we play them, we smack the crap out of them. I hope all that does happen. But no, I don't think we're a bad team. This Hawks team beat the Celtics. They beat the Cavs and they beat us. They're not a team to be slept on. So it's not just some ho-hum bottom feeder team that everybody is saying. This is a tough game. And we need to make adjustments and figure out a way to beat this team. And also, even down to you let RJ score 30. RJ's been averaging 30 in Toronto. That's what he's been doing all season. So it's not, that wasn't an outlier game for RJ because he was playing the Knicks. Like, he's been averaging 30. I do agree that the Toronto game, they didn't have their top guys. So I get that. When it could have an asterisk because they didn't have their top guys, but RJ has been balling. It just is what it is. But at the end of the day, I do agree with the fact that we have a long way to go if we're considering ourselves champions and we want to beat the Celtics. We do need to clean up some things on defensive ends. I do feel like we need to update our defensive playbook. I do feel like we need to open up the rotation. I do feel like things like that need to happen for us to go to the next level and even consider beating the Celtics. I still feel like we have a ways to go for sure. I do feel that though. I'm not gonna hold you.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, listen, the Celtics aren't perfect either. They lost to Memphis the other night. They let Jaren Jackson Jr. drop 27 and 9 on him. They let John Morant drop 32, 9 and 9 on him. So Brandon Clark had 18 and 8 and 4. Like, let's not act like that these type of things don't happen every day across the NBA. Even the good teams get blown out or beaten by teams that they shouldn't get beaten by. So every team has things they need to work on. The Knicks know theirs, and at least I feel confident with Tom Thibodeau that he will drill in on this particular unit to turn them into a type of defensive team they need to be in order to win a championship.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, you know what? I hate losing to this damn team, yo. But you know what make this loss sting a little bit is that I kind of put this up there with one of our best defensive performances. That's the thing. I put at least for like 3.5 quarters. I was like, wow, this is probably the best I've seen us rotate. Especially the first quarter. The first quarter in a vacuum. If you just look at the first quarter and the way we play defense, there was times when we get beat off the dribble and there was like 2 or 3 guys helping the guy who got beat off the dribble. And I don't think I've seen that yet this season. So to me, that's something that I'm not used to seeing from this version of this team. And if we keep going that direction and that trajectory, we should be fine. We just have to work on having that level of effort all game while getting the rebound, and we should be fine. But that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
Same.
All right. Tell us, which rotation changes can we make? I mean, that's a good question. Like, I've talked about Pacome, maybe more Sims. It's funny, Sandman talks about length all the time. Like, we should trade for length. You can't just we're at the point where there's not that many more trades to be made. Like, who do you trade for length? Like, we'll end up trading for length and then losing a core piece of us.
Yep.
is what makes the CBA tricky. You know what I'm saying? So I get the trade for length thing, but I think we're at a point where we're gonna have to develop length. We're gonna because I don't know how many trade pieces we have left. Like we just keep sending Dottie to the G League. Tibbs keeps drilling him. Maybe he develops into something. I don't know. Keep getting these guys off the end of the bench, second round guys, try to see if we can develop them into something. All right. That's it though. I see my guy. Yo, shout out MVP. MVP to my guy Lee, who came in here on algae, sick, looking like sick as a dog, and came in here and gave y'all a post game. So I salute to Lee
Had to, bro.
for fighting through, because I actually felt like I actually thought I was doing the show by myself until like 2 minutes before the show started. So I appreciate you Lee coming through.
I couldn't have you do back-to-back games by yourself, man. I couldn't do it, even though I feel like shit. And as soon as this podcast over, literally about to collapse on my bed. I had to come in with,
I can see
and
it.
give me the flu game. I had to give me the flu game, bro.
Just wrap this up so my guy can get some rest. I don't know if you have any bruh picks or anything. I don't have.
Man, appreciate, man. Got lots of love on my Guardian article on James Dolan.
Yes.
Really excited to share this with Knick's Twitter, because Knick's Twitter is full of people who are around my age that grew up with a lot of the dysfunction of Dolan and are really happy to finally have a winning team, finally have a contender. So yeah, I wrote about all of the dysfunction that has happened over the course of the last 20 years under his ownership. And I think it's important for us to understand that in order to appreciate the moment we're in right now. And it all started with the decision in 2020 to hire Leon Rose. So I cataloged everything that came up to that point, and then how Leon Rose was imbued with a lot of firsthand knowledge of Dolan and how Dolan operated. And he used that to basically do the exact opposite of how the Knicks have operated from 1999 to 2020. So yeah, I appreciate all the love that I've gotten, all the shares. Lots of my deep cut people on Twitter coming out of the woodwork to give me my shout outs and share the article. Appreciate JLS, Ryan, Phil, Fritz, Ebony, everyone who supported me along the way. My main man, Boston Nick, as well, who's been supporting me just like JLS since I was on Posting and Toasting. Still, Jimmy props. I love all y'all. Appreciate all y'all. Thank you.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt, man. Appreciate you too, man. Everything you've done for this channel too. So yeah, I put the link in the chat. So usually Fritz will be doing that, but I
appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
So yeah, the link's in the chat if you want to read the article that Lee wrote up on James Dolan. So
appreciate it.
Yeah, shout out to Lee. All right, man. Good to have you back. Even though I disagree with you today, tell him good to have you back in general. I haven't heard. And also great call, Timmy, as well. Appreciate you.
Yeah, great call, Timmy.
Yeah. I have no bro. My bro pick is Trae Young rolling dice from a logo.
Bruh.
I ain't like it.
My ooh pick, I don't know what she's doing, but I hope Anucha Brown Sanders is doing better than she was in 2006 when she got fired by Dolan and Steve Mills and Isaiah Thomas. I think about her often, about just being kind of the representative of just how bad things got at MSG was her lawsuit and firing for sexual harassment. So I think about her from time to time, hoping that she's living a good life, that she's thriving and has a good job, but she's one of the few Black executives in a marketing position at that time in the NBA. And her career was just kind of destroyed for a while because of Isaiah Thomas. So I and James Dolan. So I hope she's doing well. Shout out. I'm also dedicating my article to you.
Appreciate it. Also, TikTok got 5 likes on TikTok. Hey,
let's go.
There we go. I'll take it. I'm one of those people who actually follow me on TikTok in real life. It was like, oh, that's and either way, thanks for the support. Also, shout out to the guys in the chat on YouTube, Alexander. Shout out to Telem Alejandro. Shout out to S. Parker, Anna Grill. Shout out to my boy Ronnie Sannon. It's my college boy in real life. Shout out to you. Shout out to Ivory 10. Shout out to Mark Bishwar. Mark, I see you. I thank you for commenting on all the videos, Mark.
Oh, we love you, Mark.
Yo, Timmy, thanks for commenting on all the videos out. That helps us as well. JT Riddick was always here. That's my trainer in my head. Every time I post some gym stuff, he hypes me up. I appreciate that.
Let's go.
Miguel Gutierrez. I don't think I've seen you comment before, but shout out to you. Maybe you just be chilling in the cut and you decide to comment because I talked about how stupid Trae Young is, but I appreciate you. All right. Gamer Channel, aka Isaiah B. Willis, everybody else rocking with the KOT show. I appreciate you guys. That's the show. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure you guys were here. Knicks Nightcap is on every Thursday night. Feeling those guys do a really fantastic job of putting that show together, doing graphics and all that stuff. So shout out to my guy Phil. Happy to have that show on the channel.
Hell yeah.
Man, like it's funny because that show has gotten like thousands of views on their channel, and they decided to come to our channel. So definitely show them some love tomorrow and kick it with Phil and the Knicks Nightcap. All right, that's the show. Thank you guys for watching, and as always,
shout out the Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks streets. That's the show. We out of here. Peace.
York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.